excited to show off. And it might not be obvious by what we're seeing right now, but what we're going to be doing today is getting SSS in all of these, except Arbiter of Frost, 'cause it's literally impossible if you don't have either an A5 and I or an A1 Alistair. But we're going to be showing you, and by we I mean just me, is going to be showing you the peak of all of these Codex stages. Obviously, I know the scores aren't very high right now, but that's just because I'm recording this before I do both the Tank Codex and the Arbiter of Frost. First of all, thank you very much to AJ for letting me use his account. We should be able to dominate just all content in this game, honestly. But first of all, we're going to be going through Conqueror. There is a way to get a top 100 with this guy's account. I am not the best at Conqueror, so I'm just going to show you what I have been kind of experimenting with. Certain ways you can do it better. All of that good stuff. I didn't really want to swap a lot of the gear around, just so he would, you know, he would have kind of roughly the same gear. I don't want to ruin his guild boss or anything. But yeah, so this is my best run. This is what I did. Although I did later try it with either Brokir instead of Aatrox. I tried it with something like, not Abomination, but I did try it with other units. And it went decent, but this was my best run. Cerberus timing is very, very difficult, so I probably won't be getting in this video, but I will be hitting SSS. Obviously, you could hit a lot higher, but your Cerberus has to be able to stay alive for a long time. My timing with Cerberus is not very good. Anyways, this is the team. We got Gon. Gon is an Invig. He could be in a more DPS Invig, but I just kind of threw a random Invig on him. He's not really skilled, so you could definitely improve him. If he's in a DPS Invig, he could easily do like 30 mil on his own. But he's purely there just to put Invig and to block some units, and also for his Lord bonus, which is very powerful. And that buffs the main MVP, which is Cerberus. So Cerberus, you either want to build with Soulbound Arcana, or you want to build with Annihilating, not Annihilating Wrath, Ageless Wrath, because these are the two best sets for him. And then I would also recommend you build more HP than I do if you're trying to keep him alive. I have about 50k. A lot of the people on the leaderboard have about 60 plus, so that's definitely something you could do. But I have him built with about 2.3k attack and 330% here with crit damage. Attack speed does not affect him at all, but just the fact of the matter is you will have a lot of attack speed from these pieces, so that's why he has a lot of attack speed. And then he's also A3. His A3 is very good for this. Basically, when his HP is below 50%, which is pretty often, it doubles the damage dealt by the ground area effect. You want to have him built with a full lunacy visor, just so that he's able to survive for a very long time. He will die eventually. If I kept him alive longer, I would probably be getting a lot more damage out of him, but it's just very hard to keep him alive. And then Uridin. Uridin is actually the GOAT here. He's so much better than you think he is. He doesn't have Invig, and he's still just close to the Valkyria that has Invig. I have him with the Soulbound Arcana set. It's a really good Soulbound Arcana set, that's for damn sure. He has 20k attack, he has almost 400 attack speed, and he has almost 400% crit damage. Crazy build. I'm not sure how to time him very well, but what will end up happening is Cerberus will die, kill everything, and then when his pool goes away, Uridin's ult alone will kill everything on the map until it's over. So that's partially why he's there. He has a maxed Eye of Sin. He's insane. I like him a lot for this stage. He's really good. Next we got Aatrox, and Aatrox is the build that is by far the worst. We have a random Annihilating Might set. This is pretty solid, but I could raise the attack a little bit more. And then I also have a base Eye of Sin, because we don't have another Eye of Sin leveled, and I don't feel like leveling one. And then I'll talk about constants at the end, but right here, I just kind of swapped Zillich's gear. More attack would be better. Generally with all of these builds, because I tried to limit myself a little bit so that I wouldn't ruin the gear too much, you do want more attack, but this is not bad at all. She has all the relevant skills that matter. And then Frigid Flame is actually better, but we don't have the Mythril to maximum one right now, so Realm Terror will have to do. She will still do like 160 mil. She is the second damage dealer. And then we got Constance. Constance, I could probably build better, but right now she has a lot of attack. She has basically just a lot of attack. That's all she's really built for, is having a lot of attack. So that's why we got her there. And we also have a Keen Wisdom. I maxed her for this right here. This is pretty important. I'm not sure how to time her perfectly. My timing is not very good, but it is what it is, right? But let's just get into the run. There's two ways you could format this, which is one is you put everyone in the middle, which is the fun ways, which is what I will be doing for the video. But you could also, especially if you have Ardea is amazing for the stage. You can put them all behind the wall and that'll be fine. But this is just the way I like to do it, which I think is kind of fun. And that's just kind of going like this. So we put Cerberus first. You make sure he has Invig. He needs Invig it's very, very required. And then I like to put Valkyria here. Valkyria, whatever. And then Constance, which will give her Invig. And then I put Uridin up here. So one run I tried Brokir, and if you do Brokir, you want him in an Invig, and then he'll put Invig on Uridin, something like that. But we're using Aatrox for damage, so we don't have Invig on Uridin. But Uridin is surprisingly going to be able to clear the top for a very, very long time. And if he needs help, I will put Aatrox up there. But we're not going to put Aatrox for a little while because we want his respawn timer to be low when we start placing him. I know it doesn't make a big difference, but it's like, if we don't need him, do we really need to put him down? Just keep in mind, you can trigger the alts whenever. There's probably a much better way to do this. Also, I think Soulbound Arcana glitch is still around, so I will be triggering some alts a bit preemptively. It could be that it's not around right now, but I will still be alting with a couple people just to try to build the stacks of Soulbound Arcana. If the glitch is patched, though, this will do literally nothing, and there's no point to me triggering any alts preemptively. But I will be triggering Gon's alt every time it's up. Service alt actually helps him live, I think. But it's a little bit hard to tell. So I will just be kind of triggering it whenever. The main thing, though, is when he dies, you want to have his alt up so that he does the most damage. Our Cerberus actually will never need to trigger his ult when he dies because he will always do enough damage because he's so strong. But it is pretty important to have that going. Here, I'm just going to keep triggering alts just to kind of get those stacks up if I can. And we're going to pray that Cerberus lives. Very important that he lives as long as he can. He's kind of struggling a little bit here. Usually he dies around the 10k mark or whatever. So that's something to note there. I think he's about to die, unfortunately, or maybe he he barely survived, but it's pretty damn close. He probably is going to die. If you're running Brokir, he will have an easier time surviving, which is great. But I mean, he's gonna die here pretty soon, I think. I don't know. It depends very heavily. All right, there we go. I probably didn't need to trigger Constance and Valkyria, but who cares, right? But as you can see, Cerberus pool is killing everything in sight. The second it goes away, we are going to struggle a little bit, unfortunately. But that's just how it goes, right? And now, Uridin ult. I should have saved Constance ult to boost Uridin, but that's okay. As you can see, even with no Constance ult, he's still able to basically clear everything. And then as soon as the ult is over or he dies, we lose. As you saw before, I did have a better score. There are so many ways to time this better. I did not time this well at all. I guarantee he could probably get top 100 by doing something kind of similar. Maybe instead of Aatrox, there's someone better you could use, like Brokir, keep Cerberus alive for longer, and then the big pool will do more impact, and then that'll be a better score. But for now, I mean, SSS is more than good enough for me. Sure, Aatrox didn't do a lot. Gon could have been better. Constance could have been better. But the fact of the matter is, Cerberus is almost 300 mil, or he's approaching there, and that's with that's without as much support as the average team has. And then Valkyria and Uridin do insane damage. Valkyria actually does a lot less than I expected, considering Uridin does not have Invig on him. And also, I was timing Constance with Valkyria ult, and I didn't really time it with Uridin ult. Uridin's kind of goated, honestly. Uridin's amazing. Yeah, so that's roughly kind of the peak of what Conqueror looks like. Obviously, just keep Cerberus alive for the remaining 2 minutes. Have Ardea, which is a pretty friggin' big ask, but have Ardea, and you can start hitting these numbers. Obviously, Uridin needs to be a bit better, but I mean, Gon's not doing a lot of damage. a lot of damage just like mine, and they're clearly putting invig on these two at the top, so there is definitely a lot you could do here, but I'm happy with how this went. Now let's move on to Hellfire Emperor. Let me build a team, and I will see you guys in a second. Alright, so I just finished running Hellfire Emperor, and as you can see, top 100, baby. If the gear on this account was better for defenders, this one gearing area I think is the worst. I definitely think we could get a bit higher, but here is the team I used. I will break it down a bit later. There are a lot of replacements you could do to get SSS. So, I mean, this isn't really a guide, but also, as you can see, there's a lot of ways you can get a similar score. But you do need some better gear. So this gear is, like, not comparable to mine, because it's not. Because this gear is a lot better. To the tank gear we have, let's go over the team. So, Hars is not required, but he is very powerful. You could use Isolde instead as a Lord. We are using her as a unit, just because she was better than some of the other options. But Hars is just so important with his Lord skill, and it makes a big difference. Though Hars is also kind of like paper, and he dies very fast, so you do need to manage his HP. Next we got Olog. Olog's basically a must-have. He never dies. It's impossible for him to die. His skill on his ult gives him an extra block. He's amazing. We got Avalyn. Avalyn's also amazing. She basically never dies, and she also stalls so well. And in her promotion, she gains an extra base block, so she will have 5 block with the artifact. Everyone is running Bastion Ring, by the way. So heads up. Brodor was actually just made for this stage. That's his entire purpose, was to be made for this. Sure, the stats don't seem too great, but he also will never die, basically. If we had more reduced skill costs, that would be better. If we had some of these things, that would be better too. But also, he's a-okay. He is going to do God's work. His ultimate basically makes it so that he gets 2 extra block, which is amazing. It makes his block 7 when he's ulting. Isolde, the gear, once again, is not insane. I would like full Guardian with more HP on everything, but we have more defense pieces than HP, so that's okay. But Isolde, she gains, applies block increase. So she gets +1 block, all allies in skill range. That's basically just her. And then she just is pretty competent to survive. She's not the best for surviving, but she will survive pretty well. And then we got Gon. Gon is gonna straight up just freaking die. he dies pretty fast, but his ultimate gives him the highest block in the game. Obviously, skill cost up will be better, but it's fine. And he's going to do amazing as well. So we're just going to run it. I will auto fight this purely because I don't feel like timing it right now. I have another one to deal with, which is Frost Codex, which I'm not really looking forward to. It's kind of boring. So is this one, but yeah. Anyways, this is how I like to place them. I like to have Crowder in the middle. I do recommend having someone in the middle. Cyrus is best, just because you can time whoever you have right here a lot better, because all of these units will kind of trickle in and then they'll get caught here, but anyone that these two cannot block will instantly go through. And I just feel like it's better to have someone that will effectively be able to cover both sides. And then you also need to have 2 people in the middle, because whether or not they come from the left or the right, they will all get caught in the middle on both of these units. So essentially these 3 units in the middle cover both lanes in a way. And then I like to just have 2 consistent units on the left and the right. And then you want to have your basically highest block unit. Not really your highest block unit, but you want to have a really good blocking unit in the middle. And then you want to have 2 units that are both solid there. Hars is just there on the left because that's the side that is lacking the least, since Gon gets a ton of block. And then some advice I have on the ult usage is you want to try to space your ults out. So you want to try to do some quick math if you can to tell whether or not like 4 or more will be coming through the middle. You want to keep it, if you're running like me, you want to keep it to only 4 people going through these 2 in the middle. You want to just kind of math it out, see how many ults you need to use, and then you want to kind of alternate left and right side ults if you can. And here we hit SSS. we would have been top 50 if that went through. Oh my god. I'm kind of mad. But yeah, so new score, and we got pretty good stats on this stage. Do not matter whatsoever. But yeah, that's how you get SSS. Now we're 68. Let's see how high we would have gone. We would have had about 19.5. We would have been top 50. I'm mad that didn't go through. Okay, I'm gonna run it again, try to get a better score. But that's basically how you do that stage. Top 100. Pretty happy with that. But yeah, let's move on to the Frost Codex now. And now for the final boss. I've gotten top 50. I can do more. I think I can get SS plus, but it's very tough. And one of my main damage dealer isn't even skilled at all. So, I mean, there's a lot of improvement to be made there. But this is the end result, which is pretty hype. I could get top 100 in Conqueror, but I don't feel like it. Cause I don't know. I'm not good at Conqueror. But let's go over the team really quickly. And then I will auto fight this because Arbiter of Frost is always very time sensitive, and I don't know if I can commentate during, but this is a team we will be using. Twin Fiend is not geared properly, really. He's geared in Ageless Wrath, even though Sylvan Arcana would be better. He's not skilled, and also I completely forgot to put an artifact on him, so we're gonna do an emergency artifact on, and no wonder he wasn't doing any damage. Next we got Zillatu. Zillatu's Infernal Roar. She's in her guild boss gear, which is generally what you want to build. Pretty high attack, really high crit damage. The gear on this account is pretty insane. And then we have a max wailing skull. Moving on, we got Anai. Anai is the main DPS. She will be doing over 100 mil. She is A0, does not have skills, and yet she does insane damage. So I have my hex gear on, but with this piece, usually it would be this piece on hex, but I had this one on for Uridin earlier. And then she also has a max tier of Twilight. You don't actually need Samsara, Nightmare Samsara for the artifact. You can use tier of Twilight for damage. Puke, you really just need attack speed and rage regen, so we put on an Invig set, and he will be giving Invig to Anai. He has an Ichor Chalice. I don't know if that really matters, but that's what he has. And then we have Nasalt. Nasalt has a slightly worse set than Anai. I almost said she. He is going to be the second damage dealer, also max tier of Twilight. Mine Assault actually does more than theirs. I don't know why this one doesn't do as much as you would expect, but whatever. Next on, we got Salazar. Salazar's pretty much just for the bleed and also some shield damage. High attack because his base attack is insane. Pretty high crit damage. You don't need full crit rate if your Salazar is A1, which ours is. So we're gonna be a-okay here, and yeah, that's the team. Let's just auto fight it and I'll commentate it. We dropped one spot just by me talking about it. That's a massive rip. But yeah, so first I do those two and then I do an eye. That's for a specific timing thing because her ult is auto. I can't time it, so I do place her later than these two just so that she has her ult right here. So it's very important that I use Twin Fiend to stall her out so she doesn't ult, and then when the Boreas boss gets to the boss rush, then she instantly ults, and that way before the first shield we get about 200k, quite a bit, or maybe after the first shield, whatever, it doesn't matter. Cuke also has Invig. He gives it to Anai. That's great. And Twin Fiend, I do Twin Fiend ult either right after or right before Anai's ult, as long as Anai is not impaired during this vulnerability period. So you see this 2 at the top. That means that the damage over time effects will do more, and we want her to be ulting before then. The auto is kind of messed up. I was experimenting later, and I was having trouble breaking the final shield, which is why we're doing the auto. But generally, I would Twin Fiend ult after Anai, like immediately after, like pixels after, and that actually made her do more damage. I was just having a lot of trouble with the last shield, so I ended up just abandoning that and using this auto, and I mean it's barely a difference, so who cares. As you can see, Anai single-handedly puts on like 90% of the burns, and yeah, we're gonna keep the shield damage up. I'm not Twin Fiend ulting right here just so that he has it up for the final shield. And then same with Salazar there, an assault ult, as well as all of these guys ults. We'll barely be able to break that shield, and then Anai gets the damage out on the final thing. We got a ton of damage, and that's basically it. Obviously, you could refine the timing quite a bit, My actual score was a little bit better, but that's just because the auto kind of messed up a little bit there, and the timing was a bit off. Anai does 80 mil. I'll show you how much she tends to do. And Assault, Zilla2, you know, everyone there. Cube did a lot more than usual, and Twin Fiend did a pretty substantial amount too, especially because I put an actual artifact on. For the actual run that I got my high score, Anai did 100 mil, which is ridiculous. If I got like 6 mil more here and 8 mil more here, like that last run I did, then I think it would be about SS plus. But once again, it's kind of hard. Anai, this one failed on the last shield actually, and Anai did 100 mil. So I think if I used this timing, it would actually be better. But this is the best I could do right now. Top 50 is pretty cool. It's not going to be top 50 for long, but considering Anai isn't even leveled, if Anai was leveled, I would be able to probably get closer to top 40. But I mean, it's a mess. Like, look at this team: Praetus A1, Vulcan's A4, and also an Alistar A1. That's ridiculous. What the frick? But yeah, so that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing kind of what a more endgame account's approach to these levels are. Obviously, you could do better. If I had like Venom's account, I could probably collab with Venom, honestly, to get his Codex displayed, and that would be ridiculous. But for now, I think this is pretty exciting, pretty cool. Once again, I could get top 50 here if the luck goes better. I could get even, like, probably top 40 if I did that better. Here I could definitely get top 100. Conquerors is by far the most competitive one because the hero requirement is absolutely absurd, and it's basically just if you're a whale, you got it, you know. So it's a lot harder to break into the top 100 here. There's basically only legendaries, except for occasionally an Aatrox, while these ones are a lot more friendly for, not really free to play, but a lot more friendly with the average person. You'll probably find a couple free to play teams in here. But yeah, so that's all I had to talk about, and I hope you guys enjoyed. That's about it for this video, and yeah, Destin signing out. Big thanks to AJ. Insert cool music here.